Shit's about to get edgy. Yeah, we're playing Valkyrie Profile Covenant of the Plume. So, here's the deal with this game. Now, if you don't already know, Valkyrie Profile Covenant of the Plume is a tactical RPG. It's not like the other games, which is an action RPG, except it is. This is both an action RPG and a tactical RPG. So, I'm not talking like Growlancer 6 or Growlancer 5 style action. No, I'm not talking about that. It's an action RPG in the sense that you still have the combo system, but it's presented in a tactical RPG form. So, I'm not the biggest fan of tactical RPGs personally. I just want to say that, and this has been something that I've been pondering doing. I'm not really sure how well I'm going to do with this, and because of this, when I load the game, well, I'm pressing the wrong button because of the controls layout, but yeah, when I load the game, you'll see that, as you can see, I have this rapid gate, I have all these saved files. I do have a file of the prologue, which is here. Now, the Seraphic Gate is unlocked when you get all the endings in this game, as you can see here. Now, this game has a New Game Plus feature. Now, the good thing about this is that I don't actually have to play the game from scratch to do this video. And honestly, I want to make this as easy for me as possible because I don't want any problems. I don't want to struggle. And this is the best way for me to do this. And if I'm going to do this, I want to make things easy for me. So I'm going to basically do a New Game Plus run of this game. Just simply because I just want to play it. I just want to record it. I just kind of want to get it off the bucket list of things that I want to do, because it is something that I haven't really covered on this channel much. I've talked about Valkyrie Profile 2, and I've done Let's Plays of Valkyrie Profile 1 and 2, but I haven't done a Let's Play of this game yet. And it's been bothering me because Valkyrie Profile Covenant of the Plume is the last good Valkyrie Profile game, and not many people talk about it. It's a game that kind of gets ignored, even by me admittedly. I really should be talking more about this game than I actually do. Which is a shame, because there's a lot to like about this game, and I just find that, from my personal perspective, obviously in the grand scheme of things, everything gets overshadowed by the first game, but in my eyes, this game gets overshadowed by 2, which is my favourite game of all time. So, yeah, it's one of those games that is basically the victim of my obsession with the second Valkyrie Profile game. But basically, this is sort of a spin-off game. I mean, a lot of people would think, oh, isn't this Valkyrie Profile 3? No. I mean, I guess you could see it as Valkyrie Profile 3 if you really wanted to, because Valkyrie Profile 3 is never going to happen. This is the closest thing you're going to get to a Valkyrie Profile 3, so you kind of just got to settle for it, I guess. It's the last good Valkyrie Profile game, and it released on the DS. So, yeah, as you can see, it's all sprite-based. It doesn't have, the graphics of 2 anymore. And with it being a tactical RPG, it doesn't really have, the ability to, explore and roam around all the landscapes and stuff. It's just basically fights. But this game is still interesting to me. And I'll get to that eventually, but it's just, I haven't played this game in a while. So I'm probably going to be a bit rusty at this game. But I'm just going to get started with the prologue. Now, I will say that there is no English dub for the actual dialogue, so that's one thing that there isn't. Apparently in the Japanese version there is Japanese voice acting for the dialogue. They kind of removed it, completely. They didn't have English voice acting in the cutscenes at all in the English version. It's just kind of they removed the voice acting, and yeah, they just kind of had voice acting in battles, which is kind of funny because there's some interesting voice actors in this. Specifically a character that you can get in this game who has a accent that I'm sure everybody is very familiar with at this point, and is actually surprisingly fitting for a game set in Norse mythology. But anyways, we're going to get started with the prologue. We're going to load file 2, which is basically a New Game Plus. And we're going to start Valkyrie Profile Covenant of the Plume. So, if you haven't played Valkyrie Profile, I do have Let's Plays of the first game and the second game that you can watch. I highly recommend watching them. There's also my analysis video on 2, and I also did a video talking about Star Ocean and Valkyrie Profile being connected. Those 3 videos well, those two videos in particular are probably the two most important videos on my channel, so I definitely recommend watching those. This game I haven't really talked about at all, so none of those videos will spoil anything that happens in this game, but if you don't know anything about it, those videos will basically clue you in on what you've missed before actually watching this. Now, technically you don't need to play Valkyrie Profile 1 to actually or 2 to actually play this game. You can play this on its own and not understand what the hell is going on, but it does help to know what is going on, and I will be spoiling Valkyrie Profile 1 and 2 in these videos, so do bear in mind that there will be spoilers of Valkyrie Profile 1 and 2 in here. That's one thing I'm definitely going to warn you, because obviously this is a game that was released afterwards, and even though it's technically not a continuation, it's a prequel of 1, you could argue it's partially a continuation of 2, and because of the timeline and the way it works, so it does have some connections in some way, but it doesn't really directly connect at all. Like, there's no real direct connection with Valkyrie Profile 2, but there is connections to Valkyrie Profile 1, more than 2, and like 2 barely, I don't think there really is any connection to 2 at all, so really you don't need to worry about Valkyrie Profile 2, even though you should probably play it because it's the best game ever made. Like, you don't have to play it yet. But yeah, as you can see, we have Wilfred and Hugo and his friend Ansel, and they're mercenaries, so they're fighting for money basically, and they're getting as much work as they can get. And yeah, as you can see, like, the basic, like, Wilfred is a happy chappy, isn't he? And yeah, he is. Like, it's very rare for you to ever see him smile, let's put it that way. He is one of those types of characters. You know what those types of characters are, don't you, boys? The types of characters that are always pissed off, angry, and wants to murder everybody's pet animals just simply because they're that pissed off, you know? He's literally basically Mitsunari Yoshida from Sengoku Basara 3, that particular Mitsunari Yoshida interpretation. But in the Valkyrie Profile series, he's literally that. He is very hateful, very edgy, very, like, pissed off and, like, sullen, like, 24/7. That's basically Wilfred's character. Whereas Ansel is the opposite. He's optimistic. He's kind of more joyful. He's got more energy to him, you know. And they kind of play off of each other, I guess. So, yeah. And yeah, as you can see, Wilfred takes everything very seriously. He's very angry, pissed off, and just wants to murder people. That's basically it. Well, he's in the right line of work. And as you can see here, there's a character, and I want to make this clear right now. This character right here, this character with the hair, like the brown hair, that character in the English dub of the game, which you won't hear his voice acting outside of battle, but in battle you'll hear his voice acting, and his voice acting is, like, his English voice acting is actually Scottish. He has a Scottish accent, which is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love it, and I absolutely adore it. Now, what I'm going to do is make my life a lot easier and, like, equip some overpowered gear. So, I am going to go all the way back here. I'm going to go to arms, and I'm going to equip the Moonfalcons because I want to be overpowered. And yeah, Ansel, well, you have a few bits, but there's no point in equipping you with anything. So, we're just going to have you attack this thing, I guess. Well, actually, no, do we need to? What I need to really do... Oh, I can't actually move. I can't actually use the other guys yet. So, yeah, we're going to get into the combat of this game. Now, this is the combat of Valkyrie Profile Plume. It's very similar to the likes... I don't know, like, I think the closest thing I could think of to this game is, like, Project X Zone, or, like, maybe, like, a combination of maybe that and, like, I guess the Agarest games. But it's basically you get to, like, do Valkyrie Profile 1's combat system in this. So, yeah, you basically have the face button, and the face button ultimately dictates the attack string that you can do, and the attack string that you can do is based on the character you're using. So, yeah, that's how it works. And as you can see, we only have one character attacking. And they're not Zunde, so we're going to have a rough time. And if the enemy's left alive by the end, they can attack back. So you've got to be careful. Anyways, now we have Hugo. This is a spearman character. Spearmen can attack from a safer distance, so they're actually pretty damn good. They generally don't have as much movement potential though, but, well, sometimes they do, but it's just like, I don't know. It seems like this guy does, but I don't know, like, maybe I guess he does have some good movement potential, but either ways, we're going to attack this guy from afar. As, yeah, Hugo is pretty damn good, because he has a spear, and spears are good in this game. They are really good. They're probably one of the better weapons to use, and yeah, his spear is clearly ridiculously strong and just vastly outclasses what Ansel has, so yeah. But yeah, we got some like experience and money. Now, the thing about this game that is kind of interesting is that you can't grind in this game, so you really have to be more careful. This is all the stuff I carried over. You really have to be more careful with this game because grinding isn't a thing. So if you want to like get lots of money or experience, there are some missions that are optional which you can do to get them. But other than that, there really isn't any like way you can effectively grind in this game. This game requires skill. It's not a game like Valkyrie 1 and 2 where you can cheese it. There's no cheese in this game. In that regard, if you're looking at pure challenge, this is probably the most challenging of all of the Valkyrie profile games. But the thing about it is with this game is, as challenging as it may be, it is at the very least somewhat fair. Now, as you'll see soon enough. Now, I want to showcase something about this game's combat that's pretty interesting. Now, as you can see here, I can place him here, but I don't want to do that just yet, because what I want to do first, I want to actually first see if I can actually, no I can't. Oh, I can. Right, I'll show you that later, but here we have a formation. Formations are very important in this game. But unfortunately, for some reason, during this tutorial area, I can't utilize formations. I'm so used to it. But basically, if you have a character that is basically, like, if you have a character in front and a character behind, you'll get what I think is a flank raid. And it will basically give you bonuses in the fighting section, so you'll basically, be more stronger in battle. And this is something to bear in mind. And also, when you attack, as you can clearly see,
if you have no plunder, I'll take your life.
Yeah, he has a Scottish accent. He's the one. He's the guy with the Scottish accent. I fucking love that Scottish accent. But yeah, like, the thing about it is when you get like 3 characters that are within range of attacking, they will all team up. So that's when you get to do all the combos and stuff and have like the full team. And whereas in Valkyrie Profile 1 and 2, you basically always have the full team with you unless you like split them off in Valkyrie Profile 2 and just send one character using like the team splitting feature. Like, other than that, like, it's just like Valkyrie Profile 1 where you have like all the characters, but only if they're all together. And the formations are important because if you are in formation whilst also being all together, you'll deal even more, like, you'll be even more powerful in battle. Like, you'd have different properties that you get from the formations. So it's a really cool idea, and the best part about it is, well, from a challenge perspective, is the enemy can do the same to you. Though I don't know if the enemy can do formations. I don't think they can. They can still team up against you, and it's something to bear in mind, because if they team up against you, it can be absolutely devastating. You want to prevent that as much as possible, whilst also maximizing the potential of you being able to do it to them. That's where the challenge of this game comes in, and it can get really difficult if you don't know what you're doing. But because we're in a tutorial, it's not really that big of a deal right now, and we're just going to absolutely body this guy. And I don't know, will we be able to use a finisher? Yes, we will.
I've got something for you. Finishing strike. Reign of terror. How did that strike you?
And yeah, I wanted to be a little bit quiet there so you could hear the Scottish accent in his voice. But yeah, as you can see, like, you can do the Soul Crush chain once you hit like 100 heat, just like in Valkyrie Profile 1 and 2. And just like in Valkyrie Profile 2, you don't have to deal with like any costs. Like, there's no like, downtime for them. If you can use the Soul Crush, you can use the Soul Crush. So it's not like Valkyrie 1 where when you use a Soul Crush there's a charge time. There's no charge time in this game. But there are orbs. And the thing about it is that the orbs that you get, or the gems or whatever, like there are gems, and the gems that you can get will ultimately give you extra attacks which you can basically keep attacking. So it works more like the AP system and not like the charge time system, which is great. And as you can see there, if you notice, the enemy was dazed. Now, if you attack an enemy from behind, chances are you will daze them. I'm not, as I say, I'm not sure if that's the only way of dazing them, but as I say, I think there might be another way of dazing them. I forget. But I know if you attack them from behind, chances are you're going to daze them. And I'm not sure it always happens, but it's something to bear in mind. Attacking from behind is usually better, and in my experience, it means that they tend to be dazed. That's just something I noticed. Just do bear in mind it has been a while, guys, so I don't fully remember, but that's something that I remember. But yeah, when they're dazed, that means that they can't counter-attack you and they can't attack back. That's basically what it means, which can be useful because it can save your life. Anyways, we've got some Warriors Arcanum. If you played the Valkyrie Profile 2, you'll know what that is. Basically, all of the items are the same sort of thing as they are in Valkyrie Profile 2. They have the same sort of names, and also a lot of the spells are as well, so yeah. Now, Wilfred has amazing gear, as you can clearly see. I'm not able to change his armor yet, but I'm able to utilize maneuvers, so I can use dash, for example, and this will allow me to move 3 more spaces, which means I can actually reach this guy and I can actually be in position of him, but I don't need to. I can basically just be right here if I want to, but at the same time it's kind of like, well, it doesn't really synergize well with what they're doing, but I guess it won't hurt to just sit here for a bit. I don't know if these characters can actually do anything. No, they can't. So they don't have any skills because they don't have anything carried over from New Game Plus, which is a shame. But Wilfred, he's carried over skills, and there's some interesting skills you can carry over as Wilfred as well. So yeah, Wilfred is definitely an interesting character because he has some unique aspects to him. And as you can see, I have the best weapon you can get for him in the main story, at least from what I think, and yeah, it just absolutely destroys them. And he fights with 2 weapons, which is kind of interesting. So he kind of has like this like red sword that he has, whilst also having like a secondary sword, which is kind of a cool fighting style. And yeah, you've got this ghoul, obviously, you know, he's just going to sit there because he doesn't want to mess with us. He doesn't want to mess with fucking Wilfred. I mean, who does want to mess with Wilfred? Let's be honest here, guys. Who wants to mess with this guy? I mean, nobody wants to fuck with Wilfred. He's business. He means business. Serious business. Yeah, we've got, like, Ansel here. He's just basically, like, not really that powerful right now. Yeah, we've got other maneuvers that you can do, like, he has unique abilities like Valley's Awakening. Now, Valley's Awakening is an ability that I mean, there's also this one as well. And here's the thing, Valley's Awakening you are going to get after this mission. You'll see how you get it as well. Well, I think it's after the next mission in the game, and you'll see how you get it as well. But it's something that's unique to Wilfred, and it basically makes him extremely powerful, and yeah, it's really useful. I also have this, which I can't even use right now because I don't have enough AP, which is kind of interesting and pretty OP as well, so I decided to get that. But yeah, that's just something to bear in mind. But either way, we're just going to attack this ghoul here and end his life, which shouldn't be difficult at all. And yes, you can get experience crystals as well. Can still get them. And yeah, we didn't quite do enough damage to him, but it's not the end of the world. And Gwendel's going to join in with us, I guess. Like, he's a guest character. Occasionally you'll get guest characters in the game that they really can't do too much, but yeah, like, you can't really keep them all the time, so just bear that in mind. And Gwendol is one of those characters that you either are going to keep or you're not. It all depends.
In my father's name.
But either way, we're going to finish the job here, and this guy's done for. Yeah, he doesn't have a chance. Yeah, that third hit of Wilfred has a bit of downtime, so it might be worth, like, saving the third and final hit for, like, a finisher. To end, like basically, you do that while someone else is using an attack at the same time, so that you can actually, like, finish them. Union Plumes in this game are very important. They're probably the most important item in the game, just simply because you'll be using them a lot, and they aren't necessarily easy to get, so you want to stock up on them as much as possible. Like I said, this is a tough game, but it's not impossible to play. There's a reason why I'm not doing this without New Game Plus. It's because New Game Plus is going to make this a lot easier for me. But yeah. And yeah, basically he's talking about talking about the money, and yeah, obviously, yeah. In any case, it's time to call it a day. Uh-oh. This doesn't look good. And Wilfred is being a bit heroic and protecting his friend, who's stupid enough to just stand there. And yeah, his friend is yeah, he manages to finally detect it. And that's the end of the game, guys. That's the end of Covenant of the Plume. Yeah, it's not over yet, obviously, as you'll soon see. And now for some backstory. Yeah, basically Wilfred's father has passed away. Very sad. And he offers him a feather and tells him that it's the Valkyrie's feather. And that the Valkyrie has essentially made him her bitch. Which, as we all know, is the goal of Lenneth in Valkyrie Profile 1, as her job is to collect Einherjar for Odin. Now, if you played enough of Valkyrie Profile 1, or you played Valkyrie Profile 2, you'll start noticing that Valkyries, they collect the souls of the dead one way or another. A lot of people don't talk about this enough, but there is the case of collecting souls of the dead, and then there's the case of forcing the souls of the living into death so that they can take their souls. If you play Valkyrie Profile 1 or 2, you have seen this happen before. You see it happen directly in 2. So that's definitely one example of something that happens in 2. But the thing about it is that in Valkyrie Profile 1, the only times you ever do this is you do it, and it's only in hard mode. You will never actually see this in normal mode, which I showed, but I will explain it. Spoilers for Valkyrie Profile 1. But there are 2 Einherjar that you actually have to kill in order to recruit them as Einherjar. Those Einherjar are Gandar and Lyceria. Lysaria volunteers her life to Lenneth and wants Lenneth to kill her, whereas Gandar is evil and he's an asshole and Lenneth has to kill him, but Odin wants his soul, so Odin essentially wants Lenneth to take him as her Einherjar so that she can give him to Odin so that Odin can make him his bitch. That's basically the gist of it. So I want to kind of talk about something here. I know I don't want to talk about it too much, but I want to talk about something here just to give you a little bit of insight as to why this is happening and why Wilfred and many of the other characters in this game react the way they do. Historically, the game never goes into this, but this is something that is heavily implicated. Historically speaking, there have been moments where there have been a lot of deaths. In Valkyrie 1 and prior to the events of Valkyrie 2 Silmeria, basically in the times where Lenneth Valkyrie and Silmeria Valkyrie are the dominant Valkyries, occur during points of time where humanity is going through hard times. Now, these hard times are as follows. The War of Camille Hill and the absence of the Dragon Orb, which is causing Midgard to deteriorate. These two moments are moments where a lot of people are dying as a result of these two things. And because of this, Lenneth and Silmeria have the responsibility of collecting all of the people that have died during these wars and during this famine. And you'll clearly see that we are in this this game takes place during the time which is after the Dragon Orbs, after the Dragon Orb was lost to Odin. This game takes place after that. So basically we are in the Dragon Orb absence famine section of the timeline right now. So that is why this game, as you'll soon see, is pretty grim. Because everyone's in famine, the world is deteriorating, farmland is no longer as good as it used to be, and yeah, farmland is getting, the land is getting weaker, and sustenance is getting weaker, and plants aren't growing as much, so now food prices are increasing, and because of that, obviously every nation is basically fighting over land so they can get the best farmland, so they can get enough food to feed people, and of course nobilities get most of that food, and the peasants, they barely get anything, have to turn to thievery and other things to get it. You get what I'm saying? And obviously this leads to a lot of death. And Valkyries, well, their job is to collect all these dead souls, so because of all of the stuff that's going on during this era, the post-Dragon Orb absence era, all of these people who are dying are getting their souls collected by the Valkyries. But before all of this, now you're probably wondering, what happens during Midgard's prosperity? Well, this is explained in Valkyrie 2. In Valkyrie 2, during Midgard's prosperity, it is suggested, heavily implied, that Valkyries actually murdered people in cold blood. They murdered people and took their souls away just simply because the gods wanted their soul for themselves to fight as warriors for the gods. Now, what's basically being implied here, as you can see, which this messenger character is saying, is that Lenneth Valkyrie has willingly gone out of her way to kill Wilfred's father, Theodore. Now, obviously, we don't see this happen, and whether she actually did this or not is unknown. Now, if you play Valkyrie 1, the chance that this happened may or may not be likely. It is possible that she could have done it, but as we all know, Lenneth doesn't seem the type to just mindlessly slaughter people based on what we saw in Valkyrie 1. But at the same time, it is still possible. It is possible that she could have murdered this man, because she did the same to Gandar and Lysaria, so why wouldn't she? Now, then you have the other Valkyrie, Hurst Valkyrie, who is known to be a very ruthless Valkyrie, who gladly slaughters people in the name of Odin to claim their souls as Einherjar. And here's the thing, Hurst is known to be ruthless, but the thing about Hurst is that when Hurst is the dominant Valkyrie, that's often the time when Midgard is in its prosperity era. And when it's in an era of prosperity, there aren't any souls that are dying. There aren't enough dying souls. So that means that instead of finding dying people, Hurst has to turn to actually killing people to actually claim their souls, because she can't get souls anywhere else because there aren't enough dying people. And that's something to bear in mind. Valkyries their job is to collect souls one way or another. Regardless of whether they do so in a moral way or an immoral way. Their job is to collect souls, and they will do so by any means necessary. This is very important to note because this is vital to understanding Wilfred's reaction to all of this. Now, I do apologise for going on that tangent, but it's very important to understand what's going on here. And as you can see, Margot, which is Wilfred's mother, is not happy with the idea of Lenneth taking her husband as an Einherjar. And yeah, it's sad times. So basically that's kind of what sets things up, really. And as you can see, like, we're in a time of famine, and yeah, like, her daughter is hungry, who is also Wilfred's sister, little sister, so yeah. It's tough times in this franchise in general, but in this game, it's definitely tough times. And a lot of this is due to the Dragon Orb's absence, as I've explained. This is why it's the way it is. And yeah. And as you can clearly see, it doesn't end well for Wilfred's little sister, Elsie. And yeah, she blames Lenneth for essentially taking her husband away from her. Which, like I said, that's why, because it has happened in the past. Yep, are you starting to see why I had that long tangent now? And yeah. So yeah, we're reuniting with Ansel, I guess. We're back with him, and he mentions Tilt, or Tilte, I don't know how you pronounce it, but she's another character that they know, another childhood friend of theirs. And as you can clearly see, this is his mission. Wilfred's mission is to slay Lenneth Valkyrie. So Lenneth is actually the primary antagonist of this game, which is interesting, because in the first game she's the protagonist, she's the character you play as. In this game she's the antagonist, she's the character that you're supposed to kill. So it's sort of like Prototype 2 in that regard, in the sense that you're actually fighting against the character that you played as in the first game, which is, I actually kind of find that interesting. But yeah, like, Wilfred is really pissed off at Lenneth because of what he did to his family and his little sister and his father and his mother and pretty much everything. He's basically enraged by it, and he wants to get revenge so that he can ultimately get back at her for what she did to his family. And yeah, like, he's just consumed in vengeance, and that is why Wilfred is basically, as you can clearly see, he is very much like Sengoku Basara's Mitsunari Yoshida, but instead of Ieyasu, it's Lenneth. That's basically what Wilfred is. He is a very sullen, very angry, infuriated, serious, and pissed off character that will do everything in his power to get vengeance. And as you can clearly see, he's not really thinking all that clearly. And it seems that we've heard a voice. And yeah, as you can see, like, he's fired up now. Yeah, he is pissed off. And looks like he's been granted some power. And the Covenant is forged, hence the name Covenant in the title. And Wilfred is back. Well, all I can say is I hope that you can both remain alive forever. For your sakes. I mean, in times like these, it's very hard to know if you're going to live that long, you know? And yeah, obviously, he's got a bit of an ego as Wilfred, you know? He likes to talk shit, particularly to goddesses. He loves talking shit to goddesses. That's his favourite thing to do. And yeah, there's the plume. The Covenant of the Plume, hence the title. Don't know who that was, but either ways, we get the world map, and that's Hollowing Keep. Now, you can like roam around the world map, but there's not really much you can do. It's like the top-down world map of Valk Profile 2, but the thing about it is this game takes place entirely within a small region of the Valk Profile universe, so you don't really get to see much, but it does show some bits and bobs. It's mostly in the south, somewhat area, but it's like it kind of cuts off eventually. But yeah, like there are certain bits of areas that are in like the original game, but yeah, like a lot of this game centers around Artolia, which is the first town you see in the game in Valk Profile 1. So now if you play 2, Artolia is nowhere to be seen. So this game is more closer to 1's timeline than 2's. But yeah, we're going into the keep because that's the next place to go. And here we have the towns. Now you can go to the tavern, you can talk to people, we're not going to do that. You can go to the store and you can buy items with your money. Now, the items you probably want to buy, none of that for me, but you probably should buy some gear if you're not playing like I am. Get some Union Plumes if you can. That's basically what I would say. Obviously you can't get them right now. What you can do is equip stuff. And we're going to do that right now because we have crap gear. So we're going to equip some of the better gear in the game. And I have the mirror plate, which is really good. And the Valiant Helm. We're going to have the Star Guards. I mean, obviously there is better gear in the Seraphic Gate, but we're just talking solely like the gear that you get in this game. But the Ether Greaves, I think that's better than the rest. Yeah, it is. And we've got an accessory. We've got Omni Check, which is really handy. We've got Treasure Hunter, and we've got the Power Bangle. I would go with the Power Bangle for this. And yeah, don't bother like equipping anybody else right now. Just focus on Wilfred right now. Like, you'll be alright at the moment for the rest of the characters. You'll eventually get an opportunity to outfit the rest of the characters, but for now you'll only be able to afford to equip stuff for Wilfred anyway, so just focus on that. But yes, in any case, we are going to enter the garrison and continue on with the story. and we finally get paid. Yeah, like, you've got to act like a mercenary. You've got to basically, like, maintain an image, otherwise people will take advantage, you know? That's the thing that's interesting that Wilfred says here, you know? Like, Ansel, while he is very energetic, he's also a little bit naive and clearly mature, and in the world of mercenary work, in the realm of mercenary work, if you act like a child, people are going to take advantage of that, because this is not the knights, these are mercenaries. It's all about money, it's all about pay, and if you basically act like, oh wow, that's a lot of money, if you basically make out that you're like getting lots of money, people will notice that and will think, hang on a minute, they're saying, wow, that's a lot of money, you know. If that's the case, people are going to do whatever the hell they can to get money, because that's what they're in this business to do, more than anything. They're not in it for honor, they're in it to make cash, and that's all that matters. So if you start acting altruistic, like a goody two-shoes to these people, they will take advantage of you, because they don't give a fuck about your altruism and all of that lot. You know, they don't give a fuck that you're going to, like, oh yeah, well this is all for us. It's like, well, it doesn't have to be. We could take some from you. You see what I mean? And that's the thing. You've got to maintain that image of taking things. You've got to learn to take what is coming your way, because if you don't, someone else will take it. You know, that's the way of the world. And yeah, but as you can clearly see, these guys, they've never really known wealth, because they've always lived in poverty, and because they're turning to the line of dangerous fighting work, they're now earning actual money, and for the first time in their lives, and they're amazed by it. But Wilfred's trying to say, keep it down, you've got to maintain that composure to fit in with the rest, or they will take advantage of you. And yeah, as you can see, it's not too long before the next fight begins. Now, I don't really know what this keep is. I'm guessing that they're all garrisoned here because the local lord has hired them, and they're all kind of like a band of mercenaries, sort of semi-working together, but they're not. It's just kind of like they're in just a group of several different hired mercenaries, and they just happen to be some of the mercenaries that were hired, probably because there were some of the fewer mercenaries in the area, and they needed as many mercenaries as possible to protect them from these undead guys. But yeah, here you have the deployment thing, which that's basically decides which button you give them pretty much for their attacks. You go in the menu. This allows you to equip stuff. You can go and use items if you want and stuff. And as you can see, we've got quite a few here. And you can use them on any character you want. And yeah, you've got all the gear that you can get and stuff. That's basically where you find all of that. And yeah, you can also, with the allocation, you can also learn skills, and there's quite a few skills in this game, and there's techniques. Now this is the interesting thing, just like Valkyrie 2, you have like CP, but there's actually quite a lot of it in this game, so you can actually get lots of different skills. Obviously Fist of Iron is one skill you definitely want to have. Counterattack is a thing that you can do, but you've got Body of Steel, Resist Magic, Crystal Call. There's quite a few here. Crystal Call might be a good one, but I'm not necessarily sure. Like, Defiance halves the damage received from enemies, but reduces evasion. If you're going to use counterattack, you don't want to have Defiance. So, that's something to bear in mind. Diminished Missile might be handy though, that's automatically really good. First Aid's pretty good to use. Your Body of Steel, I might as well have that. And yeah, there's also Resist Magic. Grave Blessing if you're going to go a solo run, but you can use the Soul Crush and you want to use it in this game. Yeah, so Crystal Call, Magic Crystals, and yeah, I'm thinking we'll just go with Resist Magic. This is straightforward. By lots of things, you can only equip like 5 techniques. But you also have tactics as well, which are abilities that can be used in battle, which you can learn. And you learn them There's also magic as well for certain characters that can use magic. In this game, I think only mages can use magic. It's not like Valkyrie 2 where anyone, like light warriors and archers can use magic. You can't use magic unless you're a mage in this game. Mages got a massive buff in this game compared to 2 because they realized that mages in 2 were ridiculously underpowered. They buffed them to make them a lot more powerful in this game. And they really are. This is what the mages in 2 should have been. But yeah. The knockout blow adds a phasing effect to normal attacks. This is basically what I was saying about the days when you attack them from behind, which tends to happen more often when you attack them from behind. This basically makes it happen regardless of whether you attack them from behind or from the front, basically in any direction. But it costs 20 CP, so is it worth it? Maybe or maybe not. Either way, that's just an example of a skill that you can teach Wilfred, and for the sake of it, I'll use it on Wilfred and teach him it so that we can actually have a look and we can actually put it on. Maybe I will put it on, I don't know. I mean, we have resist magic. I guess that could be useful, but knockout blow could also be kind of useful. I mean, but we're already super strong as it is, and I don't know. Should we or shouldn't we? I don't know. Maybe we could replace first aid with it. I don't think we'll need first aid for this run. Even though first aid is usually really good, but because we're in the New Game Plus, yeah. Anyways, let's engage. And start the second mission in the game. Now for this mission, we only have Wilfred and Ansel. We don't have the others. So we basically just have these two. And for this reason, we basically
In my father's name.
can't rely on the others for help. But because I'm so overpowered, it doesn't really matter because I can just deal a lot of damage to these enemies and just whoop their asses anyways. Now, you'll notice that it says overkill there. That's going to play a very important role in this game. It's not going to really play an important role for me though, because I'm playing a New Game Plus, but if you're playing this for the first time, it's going to be very, very important. As for Ansel, well, for the time being, we're just going to kind of like have him sit there for a bit. We've got the kobold here, a direwolf, and another kobold. Wonderful. Yep, if you know anything about Valkyrie, particularly 2, the developers like their kobolds. But we are going to attack this kobold. Like, that's the thing, like, I think the kobold was mainly an enemy type that 2 was kind of the one to really focus in on. I don't know, like, I don't remember seeing the kobolds in 1. I think it's just an enemy type that you see more in 2. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe there are kobolds, but I don't remember any. Like, but I know there's plenty of them in 2. Like, plenty of them. And yeah, there's a few, as you can see, there's a few things that carry over from 2 into this. And I should also note that every time you level up in this game, you will restore all of your health. That's just something to bear in mind. And yeah, they're just gonna approach. Like, they won't always approach you, but if they do, you can sometimes take advantage of that. But you want to be careful not to get too close to enemies, because don't give them an opportunity to close in on you. Now, he's attacking me from behind, so as you can see, he dazes me, so I can't counter him. That's why you don't want to get back attack people, but it's not a huge deal for me because I'm playing New Game Plus, so it's not going to be a massive issue for me particularly. But it might be an issue for you, so just bear that in mind. But yes, we have the kobold here, and we are going to stop him in his tracks. We're going to absolutely annihilate him very quickly. There we go. The kobold is down. And yeah. And yeah, as you can see, we gain more experience and more money. Money is very important in this game. You'll definitely want to get plenty of it. But you can't really like go out of your way to do it, really. And yeah, once again, just wait with Ansel. There's no point right now. I mean, if you're playing yourself, you'll probably want to move Ansel as well and have him join in if you're playing on the first playthrough, but I'm not going to do that because Wolfie can basically do everything himself. he's just that strong at this point, and we have all these skills, so there's not really much that they can do to us, so I can just basically just destroy everything. Because that's basically what I want to do in this playthrough. I just want it to be easy, because I don't want to deal with any challenge right now. Like, I've already been through it, as you can clearly see, and yeah, like, I'd rather just focus on just having fun, just playing through the story again, without any issues. Which is something that I couldn't do in Valkyrie if I wanted to. I had to play them right from the start, so I didn't really get a chance, really. And yeah, Wilfred and Ansel are now struggling because these enemies have entered. And yeah, why do you hesitate? That's Hell. In case you're wondering, Hell is the ruler of Niflheim. Not Hell as in heaven and hell. This is Norse mythology. Hell is a goddess in this game. But she's an evil goddess. She's the goddess of Niflheim. She rules over Niflheim, and yeah, Niflheim is basically the Norse mythology equivalent of Hell. And she's called Hell, so yeah. And it seems that we've made a covenant with Hell, which is not a good idea by the looks of things. But it seems that there's a bit of a, like they kind of have, like, a reason to, by the looks of things. They have a reason to forge a covenant, and you'll soon find out what that is. Each life consumed shall stain the feather dark and darker black, thus shall be forged the Angel Slayer Valkyrie to wreck. Now, if you play Valkyrie 1 or 2 and you went into the Seraphic Gate, you will eventually, by the end of it, find a weapon called the Angel Slayer, and it's the most powerful weapon in the game. Now, in Valkyrie 2, it's not the most powerful weapon in the game because it deals random damage, but it has the highest stat value of any weapon in the game. The problem is that because it does random damage, the stat value doesn't matter, and anyone can equip it, which is kind of funny. But this is the one game that actually adds some story, like actually makes it relevant to the plot. It's actually plot relevant. So this is the actual Angel Slayer, the real one. This is the story accurate, lore accurate Angel Slayer, and which is basically what that weapon was. But this is the actual lore accurate one. So this is the actual Angel Slayer she's talking about, and she's basically wanting Wilfred to essentially kill people so that he can power up the Plume, which will essentially give the Plume enough strength to essentially forge the Angel Slayer weapon, which is a super powerful sword that is able to kill Valkyrie. Now, this will basically tell you everything you need to know. If you know anything about Niflheim and Hell, then basically there is a clash of interest between the Aesir of Asgard and the forces of Niflheim. They don't like each other. It's basically the same relationship that America and Russia have right now. They don't like each other, but they're willing to put up with each other for the sake of not having to go on a full-scale war. And if a mortal can basically take the life of a Valkyrie, that basically means that they're not accounted for. They're not accountable for it. So they see an opportunity here, and they're basically thinking, why don't we have this guy do our work for us, do our dirty work for us? And that's basically what has led them to seek out Wilfred and form a covenant where Wilfred kills all these people to power up a Plume to forge a blade called the Angel Slayer, which gives him the power to kill Valkyrie, whilst also basically ridding them of Valkyrie for the foreseeable future, which allows, like, the forces of Niflheim to harvest more souls for themselves, and essentially, yeah, they get to torture more people. So that's basically why they are working together in this, because Valkyrie is the enemy of Niflheim, and she's also the enemy of Wilfred, so they both have a shared interest. And yeah. So basically, we are working for Niflheim in this game. So basically, we're the bad guys, I guess. Sort of. I mean, if you think about it, like, but it's not quite that simple, because as we all know, if you play Valkyrie 1, you'll know it's not that simple. There's no such thing as the bad guys or good guys when it comes to gods. There isn't. It's never that simple, and basically we have gotten ourselves involved in a divine war just by partnering up with Hell. So pretty much we are doing her bidding now. But if it allows us to kill Lenneth Valkyrie, then that's all that really matters, surely. And yeah, as you can see, she's telling us to invoke the Plume. This is very important, and it ultimately highlights what this game is all about. This is a very important aspect of the game, which you will see soon enough. The Plume ultimately is one of the best features I've seen in video games, like, ever, really, particularly in tactical RPGs. And as you can see, like Wilfred, yeah, he's just gone wrecked. Even with that amazing gear that I've given him. And yeah, Hell is beckoning him to use the Plume, whatever that means. Well, you'll find out what that means. Yeah, destroy all opposition. Now, here's the thing. Wilfred could probably handle this, but the thing is that I can't do anything. The game won't let you. Even though I can probably handle it, I can't select anything else for this. Like, I could kill these guys easily. I mean, let's have a look at what they are. You know, they're just a bunch of ghouls, 700 health. Yeah, like Wilfred could solo them with his stats easily. But you're not allowed to do that, and for this battle you are forced to use the Plume. This is the mechanic that ultimately separates this game from other tactical RPGs and is what is unique to this game and sets it apart from the other tactical RPGs. Now, if you have played Fire Emblem or any other tactical RPG, you are probably familiar with the concept of permadeath. The good news about Valkyrie Profile Covenant of the Plume is that Valkyrie Profile Covenant of the Plume does not have permadeath. And this is the interesting thing about it. Now, there you go, you have Valley's Awakening. This is how you learn the first skill in the game. And as you can see, what the Plume does is it essentially makes the character that takes the Plume a Super Saiyan. It basically makes them super powerful. It's like injecting steroids into them. Literally. It's like injecting super steroids into them. And when you use it on them, this is basically the results, as you are about to see. You will basically send them into battle, and they will dominate everything. So basically, and here's the thing. This is a very, very challenging game. This is the hardest Valkyrie Profile game of them all. However, because of the Plume mechanic, you can actually use the Plume mechanic to make this game a joke. And that's what I like about this game, because if you are struggling at this game and you suck at tactical RPGs, you always have the Plume to fall back on. And that's something that is really interesting about this game. And with the New Game Plus function, it means that every time that you beat the game, you get to carry everything over, and eventually you can basically, if you're terrible at video games, you'll eventually get strong enough to the point that on later playthroughs you'll be able to beat the game normally if you so choose. But the Plume is always there, and it's always tempting you. When you're in a really bad situation and you can't see any hope of getting through a fight, then this is basically the best thing you can do. You know, don't be afraid to use the Plume. I will definitely say that, particularly on your first playthrough. Because if you use the Plume on your first playthrough, not only will you gain more abilities, as you can see, I only have 2. There's a reason why I only have 2. That's because I did this. Like, you'll see why, but there's a reason why I only have 2, and I'll explain it soon enough. But, yeah, I just want to actually get through this fight first. So, we're just going to hold position. This guy's running away because he knows that we'll just whoop his ass, so, yeah. But I'll explain that soon enough. I just want to finish this fight. Whoops, that wasn't intentional. I don't want him to have his back to him, which is not good. Oh well. Well, looks like he gets a free turn, and we have to waste more time because of that. Oh well. So he'll probably daze us or something. Yeah. Or not. Yeah. Sometimes I guess maybe I don't know if it's the Plume that's prevented that, or maybe it's just like That's the thing. I know that back attacks have a better chance of doing it. I don't know if it always does it. That's the thing I don't know. But yeah, we defeated it. But yeah, every time you use the Plume, you'll gain a new skill for Wilfred. And there's several skills that you can get in the game. So, as you can see, there is an incentive to use the Plume, and it basically makes Wilfred stronger by giving him more skills. And if you're playing a first playthrough, then getting those skills is definitely worth going for. Because, like, on later playthroughs, you might not want to use the Plume. And there's reasons why. As you are about to see right here. Yep. Yep, the oath seals my fate. And, yep. As you can see, Ansel is dead. Yep. Basically, the Plume gives a character super strength at the cost of their life after the battle. So basically, instead of having permadeath on KO by running out of hit points, in this game, you get to choose the character that you can permanently kill off. You have the power to choose the fate of these people's lives. That's basically what Covenant of the Plume is all about. You essentially have the fate of all of your allies in your hands, and you can basically choose to kill them off whenever the hell you want. And it's one of the few games where you ever get to do something like this, which makes Profile Covenant of the Plume really unique. And it's also kind of uniquely appealing in a way. If you're the sort of person that's got sadistic tendencies, this is definitely a game you're going to enjoy, because you get to kill anyone you want. So if there's a video game character in this game that you cannot stand, you have the freedom to mercilessly slaughter them in the name of Niflheim, and basically give their soul, like, well, not necessarily give their soul, but like you basically get to slaughter them and essentially use their life as a means of powering up the Plume and granting you Sin, which essentially will power it up and make it stronger to give you the Angel Slayer. And yeah, on top of that, there are rewards that you can get from like one of Hell's servants, and those rewards are essentially going to make the game easier, so you want to gather as much Sin as possible. There are many ways to get Sin, but to meet the Sin quota, you have to you have to meet the Sin quota in order to prevent something bad happening in later fights. What those bad things are, I think they're called Demi Shadows, and they're really powerful, and they can really make the next mission a lot harder. Now, if you're playing on New Game Plus like me and you have all the best gear, the Demi Shadows are kind of a joke, and you don't need to really worry about the Sin counter. But if you're playing on the first playthrough, they are not a joke, so you will want to get as much Sin as possible. And how do you get Sin, you ask? Well, you get Sin by continuing to attack, and essentially by overkilling enemies. So when you basically finish off an enemy and drain their health, every hit after you finish the enemy generates Sin. It's such an amazing concept, and I really love it. It's one of the things that I love about this game, and I wish they had something along those lines in the other Valkyrie Profile games, but this is the first one to do it, and it's such a great concept because it rewards you for basically dealing more damage beyond the enemy's health bar. The more hits you generate, the more Sin you accumulate, and this also goes for Soul Crushes as well. So if you can chain your Soul Crushes together, you'll generate more Sin, which means that you get better rewards. Think of it the same way as like sending Einherjar to Asgard to get better rewards in the Sacred Phase. It's very similar, but it happens with every single mission in this game, and with every single mission you get more rewards by meeting the Sin quota. So yeah, and you can go beyond the Sin quota to get even more rewards. So the more you slaughter and the more ruthlessly you slaughter, the better the reward. This is a game that rewards you for basically being a murderous psychopath and a sadistic motherfucker. And I wouldn't have it any other way. That's one of the reasons why I love Valkyrie Covenant of the Plume. It's dark, it's twisted, and it's fucked up. in all the right ways. But if you ever wanted to make Valk profile edgier, this is it. This is the edgy Valk profile game. And don't lie, Wilfred. Don't lie. You made that choice. You chose to kill off your best friend for the sake of power so that you can get vengeance against Lenneth Valkyrie. Just be honest with yourself. And yeah, Hugo doesn't really care that much. He's a mercenary. Why would he care about someone basically betraying their own kind? It's not like mercenaries have honor or rules. But Wilfred's clearly bothered by it. And yeah, as you can clearly see, like this mysterious voice is basically questioning whether or not he's actually devoted to the cause. And as you can see, we have a lady here, and she is called Aleph. And yeah, she's dressed up like a maid, but yeah, like when she says she's being called for from Niflheim to serve Wilfred, I think she's actually serving somebody else. But she's serving Wilfred on behalf of somebody else, and that person is Hel. Remember that person that Hel was talking to earlier, or that was in that communication? Yes, this is that person. And yeah, Aleph is the servant of Hel. She's basically like she's basically Freya's Niflheim counterpart, pretty much. In the same way that Freya helps Lenneth, Aleph helps Wilfred. The same sort of relationship, pretty much. She is the Freya of Niflheim, and yeah, that's basically it. So you'll be seeing her a lot. And yes, it's explaining everything that I just explained to you right here. If you use the plume, then essentially they will die. But in any case, that's it for this video, guys. So yes, thanks for watching, and I will see you all later.